you've hated journalists since the 1800s. Welcome to the Republican Party that doesn't trust the media.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's not just about the fucking gosh, this is why you need to call out these people on their bullshit. Just skip to the point. Like, the thing is that, like, they will try to concern troll. They don't actually give a fuck about dark money. They don't. And you can't tell me, and you have to point this out, because Fabian points this out in literally every single fucking debate, right? Because Fabian, all right, don't want to dead name him. Fabian here, literally, like, he states his ideology every debate. Like, he won't skip a single time to talk about, like, anarcho-capitalism or libertarian values, okay? I mean, I guess for this one, he didn't really mention all that much, but this is why you should mention it. There's a reason why he doesn't mention it. The reason he doesn't mention it is just simply because it's not convenient for him to, right? Because it's because none of this lines up with free speech, okay? None of this lines up with free market capitalism. None of it lines up with... These people are hypocrites. Like, they don't actually stand on their principles. They don't. Fabian here is like practicing something that is directly not a part of his principles. He's arguing for a point that is not a part of his principles. He's principleless. But then again, you know, this is like what we expect from like other NCAPs, right? Like, they don't really follow principles all that much. But like at the same time, it's like I don't know.
Hutch wanted to get in here. Hold on,
I need to ask a question real quick.
You're interrupting your buddy.
Okay, Hutch, let me just ask a quick question. Okay, sure. If I told you Hutch is my elder on the Live and Learn podcast, and he tells me what I can and can't say, what would you think that means?
That he tells you what you can and can't say.
Yeah.
No, only on the podcast.
Just on the podcast.
What hour-long spiel?
You didn't say that.
Explain how he kind of restricts what you talk about, then it would be on the person hearing that to listen to the other hour, right?
Right. What would you walk away from?
If you want to take this like in and of itself, that's fine. The tagline.
What's the implication? What's the implication of that?
Isn't the article, right? Taylor Renz didn't just write the tagline.
Yes, it is.
She wrote an entire article. I didn't say it's not in the article. I said it isn't.
Yeah, and then they said that there are restrictions on content, and then said a bunch of other stuff about what they are and aren't allowed to publish, but didn't allege specifically things. That's just that there are restrictions, but I'm not even going to show you the contract about what it says. I'm not going to tell you what Hutch told me. I'm just letting you know Hutch puts restrictions on what I can say on the podcast. What does that mean?
Well,
you just
again, it's disanalogous.
What you can and can't say.
Okay, he puts restrictions.
Exactly why they're restricted.
Okay, so you're kind of weaseling out of it. Now, what if I told you Hutch said don't? Hutch told me not to tweet out his phone number. And that is how I wrote about it. I said Hutch tells me what I can and can't say. Would you say that might be misleading?
Well, that would actually be a lie, because if you say what I can and can't say...
Yeah, you can post other things, but you can't post my phone number.
This is what the right wing, like the MAGA Republicans, have been doing for like years, soying out over headlines. This is where the left is.
It's just a coincidence.
Go ahead, Hutch, please.
Also, those left-wing pundits think what they think.
I'm trying to give it to Hutch here. Hutch, go ahead.
So Chorus is a 501c4. There are like legal restrictions on how they can frame their messaging. It's like a certain percentage of the output, the money that they spend has to be dedicated to so-and-so or whatever. And so they have to be very careful about like, you don't want somebody who's acting in the official capacity as a Chorus creator to go out there and be making endorsements or something like that. It all has to pass through like a strict process. Like, this is a restriction, but then when the creator spoke up the next day, it was quite clear that they were scheduling appointments with other politicians on their own time. There was no...
Although Ali O'Brien admits that was in violation of a contract,
there were no limitations or restrictions on the content that they were uploading on their own time. The obvious implication of that article was that Chorus had a level of control that very clearly was not happening in practice.
Oh, hold on.
Why can't Irrelevant join in? I feel like, dude, I don't know why Irrelevant like hops into JSOC stream. I guess to argue, but he doesn't hop into streams like this. He's missing out.
This is why I pushed back. This is why I pushed back against previously, because you're saying, well, she put forth a clause, right?
Is that nerd online?
Yes. And that was dishonest because it's not how it practically works. Well, at the same time, she also reached out to all these creators and gave them a chance to make a statement. They didn't, right? And now after the fact, they're saying, oh, this works differently, right? And now you shouldn't believe this article that I refuse to interact with, I refuse to comment on, right? And now it's dishonest because it doesn't show the full reality. She didn't actually get a chance.
Also,
Let Hutch respond. Let Hutch respond, please. Let Hutch
You
respond.
would have to ask them why they chose not to respond to that article. I agree that we could have saved a lot of headache if they would have done that. However, I mean, like we're focusing on the wrong thing here. And I think like soy pill, I thought that metaphor analogy you used was pretty appropriate. Like the way that the terminology was laid out in that article very clearly implied a level of control that was just not happening at all. So like the fact that they said that there's restrictions, the fact that she said that there were restrictions on the content that they could put out is technically true, but it's very disingenuously framed because
it's
there
not disingenuously framed when you've got the rest of the article there where you can read it specifies exactly how.
Stickers. Kais just put something. No, Kais, I want to say something that you just said that was like obviously if the article had been written in a way that said this doesn't mean that the people in this program could or could not make specific content on specific topics. You could say that, and that
why would she say that? Why?
Because that's the fact. She doesn't know if that's the case, and she doesn't want to imply and have people run away with that implication.
Here are the facts. The facts are the clauses in the contract, right? I can pull up the exact clause. I have the wording of the clause, right?
I'm
the
aware
clauses in the contract. She didn't lie about that.
So you are a journalist and you're trying to not paint a narrative that may or may not be true. You might want to clarify. This doesn't mean this necessarily.
Go ahead, Prime.
I
can't hear him.
You're not going to run over me. So look, the clause is in the contract. It's there, right? It's not factually inaccurate to put that clause in the contract. In terms of, hey, maybe you need to have a wider expanse as to what is actually happening. That applies if she's given that information. She reached out, right, to a whole list of individuals, right? It wasn't on just like one individual, one small creator to do this. A whole list of individuals. None of them did, right? Maybe they got an email. In fact, I think later on in her companion video, she talked about how these people were told, hey, don't reply to her. That's another thing we didn't even talk about. She specifically said, because she got the information later on, that they were told not to reply to her. So they don't actually tell them the whole truth, right? They don't give the statement. And so she puts forth the facts that she does have available. And then you're like, oh, well, why didn't you do PR for them and say, well, maybe it's not so bad as the contract implies? That's bullshit.
Well, see, there you go. Because now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth and saying, well, obviously, given that this was all she knew, it makes sense to have that implication because the other people didn't comment on that. Now, that's a different argument. If you want to say that, sure, that's part of their thing. But if I saw like the idea that just saying a fact is somehow not going to like do anything wrong and you can't run away with it, it's just so obviously untrue. If I told you, hey, the media, right after this, the median wage of America is $75,000. People aren't struggling. Do you know that 13% of the population commits 50% of the crime? There's a problem there. Like these are things that obviously in context are going to have a lot of different implications, and you need to have like some sort of responsibility, especially as a journalist, to explain those things. But if you're just saying, hey, isn't it weird that they had content restrictions and then not say anything past that? Yeah, that's irresponsible journalism. And last thing, obviously, she doesn't have to. She has no obligation to clarify that. But you asked, how could you possibly write this more objectively? And I just told you.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't say that.
A quick question.
Someone said, I don't know how else you could report on this without it being
okay, so what I said was there's no way you could have written about this where it couldn't be used for political mudslinging. Which is true.
You could definitely soften the blow. Obviously, everyone's going to mudslide.
So quick question: Do you think most Democrats are like really stupid, or do you think
I think most people are stupid? So yeah.
Okay, all right. So you would say that like if I go through your Twitter or something, right? I'm not going to find you making fun of media literacy on the right because they identify with like Starship Troopers.
No, you'll definitely find that.
How they're all.
I would say right wingers are disproportionately stupid. Yes.
Okay. So would you hold that? Like, so the issue that I have here is your argument seems contingent upon
the real answer to this entire debate is why the fuck are we talking about this when there's a genocide going on? I'm kidding. No. Why the fuck are we talking about this when our democracy is failing, right? Like, why do we need exactly for this to be an entire meme? I guess I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's just silly. It's silly because the Republicans do 1,000 times worse than whatever the Democrats do. And then the Democrats get shit for it from their own side that isn't actually their side. Like, what? Like, are you even on our side? Well, I know the answer. You're not, right? That's the correct answer to the whole thing. It's like, why should you have standards? Why should you try to play high when they go lowest to the ground? You should be... It doesn't even matter if they're being fed talking points. In my opinion, like, the talking points is an irrelevant issue, okay? Because even if you're being fed talking points, even if you're being fed any kind of thing where you're obligated to, report or let people know about like what you're talking about, why does that matter? The Republicans are doing 50 trillion times worse than that. Why should you abide by rules that nobody seems to follow? Nobody follows these rules that you're saying. You're trying to act like high and just in a world where it's like fucking blood and tears. Like it just like makes no sense to me. But like this kind of thinking is what makes us lose. It's this kind of self-critiquing in public.
Fact that even though it's explained and you can understand it from the article, and even though there's a companion video that came out,
no. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me stop you because that's not my claim. Let me stop you. That's not my claim. My claim is that if you read this entire article, not just the headline, but the entire article, it makes sense for you to come away with the implication that these people had their content controlled. It is a perfectly reasonable thing for you to think coming away.
Yes.
Which was true, yeah.
I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Okay, here's the question. Let me ask you the question. You read the entire article, and you've come away with the conclusion these people have been.
We're not allowed to talk about Israel.
Particular talking points would have been excluded from talking about particular talking points. Is that reasonable, and is that Taylor Lorenz's fault, or have you had like an intellectual failing there?
That is reasonable based on the way that Taylor Lorenz has written this article, I would say. Yes. Okay. And I would say that people that I respect, like the Majority Report, who read this and came away with that.
Boys. Next time he makes
and came away with that.
First of all, you shouldn't respect him. No, let him finish. Let Soypill finish. Hold on, let Soypill finish his point, even though
people that I would otherwise respect on most of their reporting coming away saying things like this, which I don't respect their opinion on this, because I think that no, they weren't not reading enough of the article, but rather the way that the article frames this as some dark money, shady campaign to control what people are saying is very reasonable conclusion to come away with after reading the entire thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
go ahead.
Just very quickly.
Hutch hasn't gone in a while. Let's give it to Hutch.
I think we can get at like what me and Soypill, and I'm sorry, say your name again. I can't see your full name.
Rinjald.
Sorry. Rinjald. Okay. I think we can get to the heart of it in the first two paragraphs of this article. Like, I think the problem here is like right here in the subheading. So like directly under the title, it says that they agree to restrictions on their content. Technically true, right? And then in the second paragraph of this article, it says it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creators could produce. Now, you guys can act obtuse in this moment and just pretend to not understand why people walked away from that article with a really false impression of what was going on. As you say, it is technically true.
You should. I feel like he should have done this from the very beginning. He should have just said, nah, you guys are lying. You guys are playing dumb. You guys are bad faith. Okay? Any normal person in society reading that article, their takeaway from that article is that this shit is bad. This shit is horrible. Why is this allowed? This is dark money. This is some shady shit, right? This is dark money being transferred back and forth. That is the most reasonable impression anyone can take away from reading that article, okay? Anything else is folly. This should be one of the foundational facts that is being established in this before anything else, all right? Why the fuck? What? And then the argument should be, okay, is this tone justified? Is this tone justified? I'm sorry, but if someone argues that the article was not framing Chorus in a negative light, you are delusional and you're not worth interacting with. You should not be debated with. You should not be reasoned with, okay? You should be thrown to the worms. Okay, anyway.
That they agreed to restrictions on their content in the capacity of like acting as a chorus creator. But the subheading combined with this particular language, 2 paragraphs down, very clearly gave a very nefarious impression of what was going on at this organization.
If people walked away from it after the first 2 paragraphs, that's on them. They're retarded.
No, you can read the rest of the article.
Think about politics. Emma Vigeland didn't get that narrative from the article. Emma Vigeland got the very specific cause and narrative.
By the way, okay, I just want to say, I hate debates with bad faith actors, okay? And this is part of the reason when I had the anti-pen debates, okay? Because let's just get down to the crux of the issue, okay? You don't want doxing, even though you associate yourself with doxing communities, but you play dumb. You see it, I see it, we all know it, okay? You associate yourself with doxing communities and with people who are objectively pro-doxing, okay? If we cannot accept that foundational fact, it's like trying to teach a child how to, the fucking multiplication tables, right? Like, I don't have time to teach you the multiplication tables, okay? You either know 7 times 7 equals 49 or you don't, okay? Like, there is no point in reasoning with somebody who like lacks the foundational math or the logic or the reasoning it takes to make the most primitive of the most primitive logical connections, okay? I'm sorry, all right? No, I'm not going to debate pedophile myself into going like, well, what doxing connections do you have? The article's impression is not whatever. Oh my god, these debates are the worst, okay? The most insufferable debates to ever have. I want to blow out my brains every single time I have one of these fucking debates, okay? This needs to stop, okay? This fucking playing dumb, whenever somebody plays dumb, their bullshit needs to be called out because everyone in here is of reasonable intelligence, except for J-Stalk. He's a fucking dumbass, okay? So why the fuck doesn't anybody, like, Anyway, yeah.
Hutch finish and you can respond, Dickers, I promise. Hutch finish.
Not just, like, it goes on from there. The rest of the article is very clearly implying something that is like holistically nefarious about this entire
people who play dumb on purpose need to be called out, okay? Stop playing fucking dumb. Stop playing dumb, okay? Seriously.
Program very clearly implying that there is an extreme level of control going on here. Some kind of like censorship, right?
Okay, Dickers, you can respond, but I also want you to answer my question here is what about this article would, going through it, what particular part of the article would would nip in the bud Hutch's argument here, which would say, oh, this clarifies what they meant at the beginning of the article. This clarifies that it wasn't restrictions on Gaza or something. Which part of the article?
I'll just say that Gaza, the word Gaza was not explicitly mentioned. Like they didn't.
Or Israel, but you know what I mean. Like it doesn't have to be a specific.
Well, what Hutch is talking about, I completely get this. I can completely get this if people are just walking away from like reading the article after 2 lines and they fill in whatever their pet political narrative is. That's totally fine. Okay, if you read the entire.
You know what this is? It's kind of like this, okay? So let's just say you're debating Nick Fuentes, and you're like, okay, so you're a Nazi. How do you justify your Nazi worldview? And then Nick Fuentes spends the entire fucking debate going like, do you have any evidence I'm actually a Nazi? I'm sorry, but if you say some stupid fucking bullshit like that, it's not worth having a debate with somebody like that, okay? Someone who plays dumb about who they are, when everybody knows who the fuck they are, and anybody with like a common conscience who knows who they are, is not worth talking to, okay? It's like Nick Fuentes pretending he's not a Nazi. It's like a obvious white supremacist. It's like if you debate Sargon of Akkad, right? And he pretends he's not like a far right leaning like a Brit bonger. I'm sorry, it's not worth the time, okay? It's just not worth the time. I'm not about to it's the most boring debate ever on like the ascription of who you are. Oh yeah, let's bring up like the 50 examples in which you may or may not correlate with Nazi or far-right talking points. Bitch, I don't have time for that! I want an actual moral debate, and you're the one fucking bullshitting around. Fuck off! Okay, I'm calm. Okay.
One, you won't get a specific claim about Gaza, which Emma Vigeland made. She's not got that from the article. She's got that from online Twitter and online spaces like that. This is an entire creation of like the pro-Palestinian side of Twitter, which I've said in the content that I've made about it. This is like unfounded. You are just lying about what is contained in here, right? To the second point, I think what they could have done, maybe, is like go on to actually talk about what the restrictions are in the rest of the article. Slew of restrictive clauses in the content, people were concerned about that. The outlined restrictions violate ethical norms. That's about disclosure. Chorus about restrictive to some. I mean, this isn't what Taylor Lorenz is claiming, right? In and of itself, out of nowhere. This is what creators that herself, the creator that she spoke to, have said about. But
because what do you think Taylor Lorenz thinks about the Democrats?
I think she probably supports the party over the Republicans, which they go more like way further left.
Okay. No, she like literally has explicitly said, "I'm not a Democrat. I hate the Democrats," and is like Hassan pilled insofar as like either use them to subvert or let them destroy.
Calling Soypill and Hutch orbiters is crazy. I am going to call them orbiters. Do you know why? It's because all the anti-fans call them orbiters, okay? That's why. And in my opinion, if you're stupid enough to sever your bridge of destiny, but then expect, like, protection from people or expect people to protect you, I'm sorry, okay? But you're literally just getting none of the benefits. You're getting none of the benefits for all the non-benefits. You sever ties with destiny, fine, okay? But you have to acknowledge as well that people are still gonna call you Destiny and a fucking Destiny Orbiter, okay? People are still gonna call you Destiny Orbiter, and you're still gonna get, like, as much pushback as any other Destiny Orbiter would receive, okay? I'm sorry, okay? So why the fuck did you sever ties in the first place?
So
I say I'm not a Democrat. I hate the Democrats, but then I vote for the Democrats.
Was this just Taylor Lorenz, or was this white fact checkers, white editors, white legal?
What
team?
I just said? Or are you asking me if the article
No.
is accurate?
I'm saying about in terms of what implications you get for the article, because people focus on Taylor Lorenz, and she's the author, sure, but it's in partnership with Wired.
Yeah, I've said.
When has Wired ever stopped anyone from posting something with implications?
Hold on. Prime, then Hutch, and then Soypill.
Sure. Well, two things. One, I've been trying to get this in quickly, and this is just how like journalism works. But like
middle school education time, editors exist.
I was going to say editors exist in terms of the title and like the sub line, right? Like the writer may not actually write that. Right? The editors will like make up something catchy that might not be.
Usually,
that doesn't mean.
Usually, the title and subtitle is often edited by the editor. It's the most likely thing to be edited, but
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you should necessarily. I'm not trying to say like it will take a Taylor off the hook, right? I mean that's her byline, right? So I mean she has to stand by that article, but I'm just putting that out there. But then also, I also say that I hate the Democrats, can't stand them, but then I vote for the Democrats, because they're the best party that I have available to me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she has it out to destroy the party or whatever.
By the way, okay, you also perform much better in debates where you just call out their bullshit, right? Like, for example, in the debate versus Dickers, you'll notice that in this debate, like, he's much more in his zone here, right? Because it's not only is it a panel debate where no one can pin him down on or something, like pin him on a question or something like that, but you'll notice that, because now when you're forcing people to, like, argue on the point of whether or not Taylor Lorenz this framing of the article is even like I don't know negative or positive of chorus or not, then you are gonna get into the weeds and you're gonna get lost in the sauce. Okay, notice that when I debated Dickers, okay, on whether or not doxing is justified, you should just straight up make them accept the foundational fact that you are associated with Queenman, you are associated with these pro-doxing communities, you are associated with all these people. It is useless for you to deny that, and if you don't deny it, if you deny it, then it's not worth talking to you, which is exactly what happened, okay? You have a way better time if you do that, okay? Trust me, all right? But yeah.
And in fact, if it is the case that this group is not like DNC controlled, then it actually doesn't matter, right? What would that matter? If she doesn't like the Democrats, it's not DNC controlled, so it's no big deal, right?
Does she even use the word DNC in the article? I don't think she does.
No, I don't
say
think
directly,
so.
I guess.
She,
Go ahead, Hutch.
No.
So I want you guys on the other side of this thing to reconcile these two things from Taylor Lorenz. Okay, so last night she had a conversation with Destiny. In that conversation, she said,
are we now talking about Taylor Lorenz, or is this still about chorus?
Hang on.
In the article.
It's about both.
I think it's Taylor Lorenz on the article.
I'm going to talk about
I
Taylor
think this
Lorenz.
is talking about Taylor Lorenz, yeah.
Yeah,
this is drama slop bullshit. This is
the author
Hold
of the
on.
article.
I think hold on, no, just all of you stop. Hold on, all of you shut up. I think it's perfectly okay to talk about the author of the article when we talk about the article. I think that
she's talking about the article.
goes to credibility. Anyway, go ahead, Hutch.
But that's fine.
It's about the article.
You have no fucking idea what I'm about to say right now.
Go ahead,
I'm
Hutch.
slinging ad
I
homs
do, I
out.
promise you. But go ahead.
Okay, what am I going to say?
No, I want to let you say it.
You said you knew. Let's hear it.
I'm being a good boy.
The
I'm being a good boy right now.
response
It's going to be
I
Taylor
really do want
Lorenz
you to answer
talking
that
about how
question.
I am curious too. Dickers, can you?
I really want him to answer that question. You said you knew what I was going to say.
Yeah, what
we can demand answers? What's an argument?
All right, you said
We're going
you
back to
gave me an
that.
answer.
What's an argument?
That's going to be
Come on, what's an argument? You
It's
first.
going to be Taylor Lorenz's opinions on the Democratic Party or Taylor Lorenz's opinions not shared within the article. Go.
Great. Okay, let me get to my point. In the conversation that she had with Destiny last night, she said that she actually did not know the rest of the creators that were in the program. She only had access to something like a dozen. She said, we don't know the vast majority of the people that were in the program. That came out of her mouth, okay? How do you reconcile that with a tweet from her on August 27th that says, I can confirm Hassan Nahan was not approached for this program. I didn't see Austin on the list either. And then she says, the 90 influencers involved appear to be primarily centrist, pro-DNC Dems who have not spoken about Palestine are pro-Israel. Now, how do you reconcile these things? How could she possibly say that the 90 influencers involved appear to be primarily centrist when she herself said last night that she doesn't know the vast majority of the people that are in the program? How do you make sense
Well,
of that?
because she had access to the group chat, right? And so she doesn't know who actually took the contract or who didn't, but she knows the people who were approached. I think she reached out to her son in particular, it sounds like.
She said the
Easy.
90 influencers involved appear to be primarily centrist,
You're just repeating.
pro DNC. No,
Yeah.
because he didn't answer my question.
Can you respond to what I said?
You literally
I've just
did.
given you the exact way that
What
marries
the fuck,
up.
Hutch?
You guys are,
How the fuck do you?
You're not addressing
Maybe
it.
the right
Hold on.
You guys are
The-
not
let me translate.
addressing what I'm saying.
Let
She
me-
is
yeah.
making a claim. She
Hold
is making a claim about 90 influencers, and she only knows like 15 that are in the program. How is that not dishonest? And how is that
You know what
not
influence is,
fanning the
Hutch?
flames? How is that not fanning the flames?
This isn't a fucking
the
drama
people
slap
like-
If I've
YouTube
got-
video.
I've
He
got
answered you.
models,
Of
right?
the people
If I've
like
got
Emma
models,
Vigland
19
and
inside of
Hassan
there.
Pikers.
Also, people shouldn't like pretend that this isn't also about like anti-Semitism either. Okay, like fuck. Like I think that is a much that's a harder thing to kind of argue for, maybe a little bit, but like. But I think you can still easily argue it, okay? I still think you can easily argue it. I think you can. No, I think you can, okay? Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let Hutch finish his point. Hutch, go
It's
ahead.
totally possible.
He has
How-
no point. It's
how
already been
is that-
responded.
Stop.
You are children, both of you. Seriously. I didn't interrupt you for the last like 30 minutes. Just let me speak.
Because you have nothing to say.
Okay.
You're
Go ahead.
still doing it, bro. How can
Yes,
she
I'm making fun of you.
Go ahead, Hutch, please.
bro? Soy Pill, do you understand my point? Are you?
Yeah,
are
it
you?
makes perfect. Wait, guys,
Wait,
maybe
just
you'll
please,
listen to it if I say it.
please,
Wait, guys,
please,
Hutch doesn't. No, you're right. No,
please.
I agree. Hutch doesn't have
I'm-
arguments. Let me repeat it from a different
No,
mouth,
Hutch,
okay?
please just finish the
Hutch,
point.
here's Hutch's point, okay? Taylor the Rent, the author of this article, is alleging that she knew the political alignment of all 90 creators, despite saying at a different time that she only knows the identities of 15 because Chorus did not release all of them. She is saying that the majority of it, let me finish, the majority of those 90 creators are saying things that are pro-Israel and pro-DNC. So the author is alleging, in the same way that we are claiming that this article is alleging, that these people are being paid to push DNC talking points and not talk about Gaza.
Okay.
Leap you just made.
Because I was asked, right? I was right. This is about Taylor Rentz's particular opinions, not in the article. But going on from that, right? Taylor Rentz knows the identity of 15 of them. Let's just say, for example, I've got a bag. I know there's 90 marbles in there. I take out 15 of them are red. Can I make an inference on what the color of the rest of them are? Yes or no?
Okay, Dicker, she made a factual claim, not an opinion. She said a
Exactly.
majority
You said
of these
appears.
creators. What?
Wait, Hutch, can you read off the quote again? Sorry, I may be wrong.
He said, the 90 influencers involved
Oh, no.
appear
What did he
to
say
be
before that?
primarily
nice.
centrist pro DNC Dems.
Appears to
How
be,
could
nice.
she? You guys cannot possibly believe that she was justified in extrapolating in that way so confidently. She has
Okay, 90
no
marbles.
idea. Like a sample size of like 12 or 13 people.
You're guessing.
Why can't people just call people on their bullshit more often? Because the thing is that I don't know what Hutch was thinking in this specific example. Maybe he believes that they are arguing good faith, but that is a silly presumption. Okay, they are not arguing good faith. It's very clear to me that they are. This is a bad faith. They are 100% being bad faith here, and you can just literally start pointing out the discrepancy between Fabian Liberty's like fucking worldview and everything else, right? Like he's a what, a libertarian ANCAP arguing for arguing against free speech? Yeah, like he's not serious. Obviously.
Guessing the
not-
implication and then saying the implication is wrong. It's
Yes,
just
it's-
you
you know,
arguing
that's
with your
the
own
problem.
brain.
No, Hutch, there must be two Taylor the Rentzes. There's the one who wrote the article, and there's this other random crazy lady who has completely irrelevant,
so there's
takes
people's
on
personal
this thing.
opinions, and then
That's wild.
there's people's
And
opinions
then what
that
she
they're
actually
willing to
fucking said.
overwritten by wise editors,
she
wise
said-
fact checkers,
when
wise-
Fuck. Is it just that Hutch isn't good at debating? Is it just that like no. They do fine debates. Maybe they're just not catching it in the moment. Maybe it's because they're too heated. Here, I'll give an example, okay? Because I'm not that good at debating either, okay? But it's just because in the moment I can think of it. Do you think that we should ascribe the same level of discussion and care when it comes to someone like Taylor Swift? Someone who may or may not have more influence than Chorus, right? Who almost definitely has more influence than Chorus at this point. who is may or may not be paid by dark money, pushes democratic ideals, pushes endorse Kamala Harris. Do you give any of that care to Taylor Swift? Do you think that we should host a panel on whether or not Taylor Swift is being bought out by the DNC? That's a great question to ask, but no one is asking that question. Right? That's another great question to ask. So, yeah, I don't... There's just so many questions that you could have asked in this moment. Fuck! How did you scramble this up? Just learn how to debate better, okay, please. Just learn how to debate better, for the love of God, okay? Jesus. I don't know.
She said that the 90 influencers involved appear to be a particular way, how could she possibly opine on that if she hasn't seen like 75 of their Twitter accounts?
What? Because she knows 15, and so she makes an extrapolation.
I
mean, she's quite clear that she doesn't know everyone who's in there, right?
You cannot be serious right now that you think it's appropriate for a journalist to suggest that we can just surmise the positions of 75 people and their position on Gaza from 15 people.
Marbles, yes or no?
This is the most beautiful cope.
It appears to be a bag full of 50 marbles.
There's no way that you guys actually believe this, by the way.
Okay. I think we're going to.
Can we just finish this? Let me ask.
Hold on. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up in a minute here.
I want to force a question first, and then you can
ask
it. Are you agreeing that Taylor Lorenz's comment about the implications of all of these people's views has absolutely nothing to do with her article?
No, she's talking about materials reported on in the article.
Would you say the views that she expressed, maybe her opinion, if you want to call it that?
Okay, stop him right there. He doesn't believe that any of Taylor Lorenz's personal views has anything to do with the article, okay? If Dickers denies that, stop the conversation right there, okay? Push him on that. Push him on that shit. Push him on that shit. Stop the conversation right there. Say, okay, so she loves Hassan. She worships his cock. She will, she's a leftist. You guys acknowledge that she's a leftist. I don't know, just bring everything else up. Okay, you do this anyway.
Might be at all reflected in said article.
Oh, she wrote it, yeah. Probably.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now ask your question. Dickers wanted to ask a question. Dickers wanted to ask a question.
If you can't see past that, I don't have to.
Ask your question, Dickers. Go ahead.
So, despite moderator bias allowing somebody to ask a question first, that's totally fine. So, Hutch, there's 90 marbles in the bag, okay? You pick out 15 and they're red. Can you say this appears to be a bag of red marbles? Yes or no? We're rewriting probability math right now.
No, hang on. Your situation doesn't make any sense when 4 of the people that have been identified in this program were on the record speaking about Palestine and Israel. So by her own math, like a full 1/3 of the people that she covered and knew of from this program had spoken out about Israel. How could she possibly say that it was primarily a group of...
Is speaking out of Israel a far left position?
You're comparing...
Hutch needs to bite down this bullet, okay? Sure, the analogy is retarded, but you have to bite down the bullet first before proceeding, in my opinion, okay? So, like, for example, all right, you should say, yeah, the obvious inference here is, yes, it is, like, you can make an inference that it is a bag of red marbles, yes, okay? And then, afterwards, you should say, all right, what does this have to do with the situation? That's it, okay? Obviously, you can answer obvious questions, okay? Shit. Like, you can answer, you're making this hard for yourself for no reason. Just answer the obvious question and then explain why the analogy doesn't make sense or it doesn't correlate with the example at hand. Oh, you can say like, oh, well, the marble analogy doesn't work as well because we're talking about a different situation here, or and if that's not a good excuse, you can always say like, well, the claim and the inference that she's trying to draw on, and you shouldn't move off of this point, the inference that she's drawing on is that the dark money is like influencing politics, right? That's the inference. Yeah. Frustrating stuff. Frustrating.
Something like a color to like
no.
an ideological
specifically in regard to Israel?
Wait, if somebody is opining on politics, there's like literally like hundreds of different things that have particular topics.
Really quick. So let me really quick. Right? So,
we pull 15 red marbles. No, but that's his hypothetical that he's like trying to explain, right? Like that's the hypothetical he's trying to explain. He's trying to basically say, well, they're all red marbles. So obviously, yeah, they're all red marbles, of course. Like that is the common sense belief of that, right? Like you don't just go like, what if the next one is blue? Like obviously, yeah. And then you should argue past that, right? You shouldn't be stuck on this stupid analogy, right? Obviously, it's all bad faith, but the thing is that you should bite down bullets and then explain afterwards. This is what Destiny does as well, right? Like he answers, he quickly answers the hypothetical, and then what he'll do is that he will just continue and explain why it doesn't match up with the situation at hand, right? This is the difference, right? That's what you should do. Yeah.
Really quick. So really quick.
Hold on. No, not really quick. Not really quick. Let them finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So even with the numbers like outlined there, like there's still like the 66%. Wait, I thought I was just wondering.
Of the conspiracy theories that was going on with like
you're arguing against Twitter again. Stop. Go away.
No, hang on. No, you guys. No, he just said a moment ago that all the discussion about Israel and Gaza had nothing to do with
Hutch isn't saying the next one was blue. He said you've already pulled out 4 blue marbles. No, what I'm saying is that he should answer the question and then point out, okay, now you've seen blue marbles, right? He should make an argument, like arguing about like whether or not it was matching up with the analogy after you answer the question, because now he could, like, Dickers can just say, well, you're just not answering the question, and then Hutch can just say, well, I answered the question, but this is not the correct analogy, right? I answered the question, but this is not the correct analogy. And then now Hutch can start asking questions of his own. Because now you see what happens is that you've answered someone else's question. Now it's your turn to ask a question, right? Then you can begin pushing back. Yeah. Stop Destiny from getting battered by the same boss. I don't know. Tell him to get better, okay? Tell him to go back to Chromatic Abyss, okay? Yeah.
Taylor Lorenz. I just read off a tweet from her right now that very clearly demonstrates that she herself fanned the flames of that conspiratorial thinking. And you guys are just stubbornly refusing to acknowledge the possibility that she contributed to that really toxic, disgusting.
Yeah, just real quick before you respond, I just have one question for Dick, for Prime. You all look the same to me. Prime, do you agree with the? Are you on Dickers and Prime and Fabian's side with this bag of marbles analogy? Do you agree with that? I'm just really curious. I want to know. If you were,
can I get my response first?
We disagree.
No, I want to hear. It's just a quick yes or no, Prime. Do you?
No, it's not a quick yes or no because I'm not quite sure. I don't know enough about.
Well, then let Dickers explain.
Okay, Dickers, go ahead and explain. I'm curious when he finishes explaining, though, for you to answer that question. Go ahead, explain. Though to be clear, Dickers, they aren't pulling out 15 red marbles. They're pulling out 10 red and 5 blue.
Well, not really. Okay, and that's what I'm going to say. So, being like calling out what's happening in Gaza isn't like a far left position, right? Even a lot of people on the moderate left have called out what's happening in Gaza, right? In terms of, I don't know how
a lot of people on the right
nation have been, too. But even if, well, yeah, that's true. Actually, it's kind of across.
Wrong. Push back on this. Okay, it's not a far left. It is a far left position. It just is. Okay, I'm sorry, but the only people who are pushing for this to be like fucking protesting, or something like that, and anybody with a common sense would say that this is a far left position. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm sorry, but most Americans don't give a flying fuck about Israel versus Palestine. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Most people don't give a flying fuck about this issue. Period. All right. But yeah.
The political spectrum, but anyway, that she's talking. Even if you were just to say it appears to be people who don't care about what's happened in Gaza or don't talk about Gaza. Now that's a stronger claim, and she'd still be right. You found 4 people out of the 15 that have called out what's happened in Gaza. That leaves 11 out of 15 that haven't talked about Gaza. That is a vast majority. That's a super majority, in fact. So if she wants to make an inference and say it appears to be, I mean, I can't believe we're putting on this. This is so stupid.
I think it is wildly irresponsible for a journalist to extrapolate in that way.
He's not saying this.
The subsequent discourse that happened, I think she absolutely played a part with that tweet of hers. Like, have you guys gone through and actually looked at all these creators and taken a look? It's not just that they were talking about Israel, Gaza. Like, they were very, very scathing in their critique of the Democratic Party. Like, it wasn't just like what's happening in Gaza is wrong. It was, Democrat complicity. That's how far these creators were going. And so for her to do that, I think obviously directly contributed to the discourse.
Okay, we are wrapping up soon, so be concise.
Hold on. No, Dickers. I've been trying to get in for a while here on this one. All right.
No, you have. I apologize.
Hutch, what you are doing right now is you are trying to connect several things via tenuous connections so that you can deeply obfuscate the actual argument that is occurring. Are you giggling at the word tenuous? Like, what's happening? You accuse me of being
It's not tenuous at all, bro.
You're acting like a children at the principal's
This
office.
is a journalist. Why are journalists extrapolating? How do you justify that?
So I thought you were arguing with Twitter, but it seems like you've never been on Twitter. Where I don't know, but on Twitter, a lot of journalists
spend a lot of time on Twitter.
Yeah.
How dare journalists make inferences?
Are we not all on Twitter?
Journalists make
We're not talking
inferences
about
in state.
We're talking about like extrapolations from a sample size of 12 people, and you guys
Yeah,
can't.
and the fact that this is reflected in her article.
Directly anonymous, right?
Some journalists remember third grade. Apparently, you don't.
I should actually spend more time on Twitter, unironically, okay? I get really good engagement on my Twitter account these days. Just mainly because I've been posting stuff from Kiwi Farms. Yeah. I don't really talk about it on stream, but yeah, I've been posting a lot about Kiwi Farms. I read Destiny's thread daily at this point, so...
Because Dicker's tried to explain to you how you first learned probability in elementary school and you still don't fucking get it. So shush. Again, what you are attempting to do is via tenuous connections, connect her saying an opinion that isn't expressed in the article explicitly, but is on Twitter where she's talking about this earlier on, right, in the end of August, about the fact that she's looking at a select group of people, a small sample size. Yes, it is a small sample size.
Those guys so smug and stupid at this time. Huh? Fabian? I don't know how many views he has.
And she states that it appears that based upon this small sample size, that there is not this 50-50 split, but rather that there are a lot of people that are silent on these issues. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's in some way, shape, or form insinuating at the nefarious nature of how money in politics and how money influences people when they speak online. But the reason you are engaged in that is that you want to connect that tenuous connection to the crazy people on Twitter by saying that, by her saying it appears, and a statement of fact, and also, actually, it's technically a statement of fact, but it's more subjective in that nature, that she is fanning the flames of all the bad things, so that you can then connect that to the concept of why dark money is actually fucking good, because it'll protect people from the reactions that have come post this article, which is the argument you made before. That is why I'm making fun of you, because it's dumb.
The author's tweet to the author of the article. And also, I can't actually say something that I know that is not going to be said publicly, and never mind, I can't even say it because I talked to Taylor about this, but this is just so fucking obvious.
DM it to me, because now I'm curious, but go ahead.
Say in this tweet would obviously...
Can anyone please tell me why the fuck, like, Taylor Lorenz is in the DMs of fucking Soy Pill? I'm not trying to like say there's a conspiracy or anything like that, right? But I'm saying that, like, Taylor Lorenz seems very desperate to fix the narrative, right, against her right now. Like, that's what it seems like, right? It's not that Soy Pill is sus, it's that Taylor Lorenz seemed a little desperate. Right? Because she's clearly not getting as well received as it is that she has hoped, like, unanimously. What makes you think that? Because usually whenever somebody makes a... Okay, so there's this thing in the commentary community where I feel like it's... I don't know how hard it is to explain, okay? But... basically, in the commentary community, after you make a hit piece, like a really big hit piece, let's just say that you're trying to go into different people's comment sections and you're trying to argue about it you're trying to, like, cover your ass. You're trying to, like, go like, well, I didn't actually say this. I said this, but I didn't actually mean it, or something like that, right? Usually what that tells me is that you're not really confident in your hit piece. You're not really confident in your article. You feel as though maybe you haven't done the best job because your article should have explained everything already, right? Your article should have already made all the correct inferences or anything like that. So when people misinterpret your article and you're going onto all the fucking shows ever to try to justify your article, it feels like you're trying to, like, fix the narrative. You're trying to make people look at it in a very specific light when they should have already gotten the light from, like, reading your article, right? Because if you're confident in what you're making, after someone finishes your work in a vacuum, they should already be coming away with the impression that you want them to come away with, or with their own or with their own impression that you don't really care all that much about, right? But when you're going into other people's like reactions to it or something like that, trying to correct them, trying to argue with them, it shows that you're not actually confident in what you're talking about. Does that make sense? Sorry, I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that you guys understand content creator phenomenons that happen. It's a little harder to kind of, I don't know, conceptualize these things when you're just the viewer or you're just the person who's like watching everything on the side. But you only feel this kind of thing when you're like a proper content creator or somebody who creates like these kinds of things. But yeah, this is like, yeah, it's a concept.
Be the implication of the article. Everyone's coming away with the implication of what she said, not in the article, wrote it in a way that is like clearly, okay, all these people came away with this. Oh, I guess they're all just crazy and not, she was pushing to a certain opinion that she herself holds. That's insane to me. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Why the fuck is Taylor
From the creators that we know, are they or are they not
the biggest indicator.
Center-left ends?
Jesus.
Are there any communists, any anarchists?
The Ali person is for sure a leftist. The Angela person was militantly pro-Palestine. Like she was going so far above.
Yeah, but that's
like
not
normal
like a leftist.
That doesn't mean that she's
Absolutely,
leftist.
a further left position.
It doesn't mean she's leftist.
You don't think it's, wait, hold on. If somebody says
There are
Pete Buttigieg
fascists
will
that
never
are
be-
screaming Palestine right
somebody
now.
says,
Like,
if
stop.
somebody says,
Hold on. Yeah, if I get,
says,
okay.
all right.
let me try.
believe
Let me
so.
try. I got $100 for you, okay? And I'm going to give you a statement from someone. You have to guess whether they're far left or whether they're liberal. And the statement that they make is a militantly pro-Palestine statement, and you had to guess which way are you guessing to get that $100.
Militantly pro-Palestine doing a lot of work for here, right? I don't know if you're a fucking Zionist, and actually, I literally don't know. I'm not saying that you are, Hutch. But, like, I don't know if you're a Zionist. A Zionist might say that, hey, the IDF is committing a genocide that's militantly pro-Palestine. Like, I don't know your perspective here, so and I haven't heard this statement. So if you can tell me the statement, then maybe I can readjust my expectations here. But just saying that means nothing to me.
Just for me, my answer as a citizen journalist, it would not be up to me to infer, to generalize, or to extrapolate on that question.
Wick, I have to leave. I have a panel right now.
Yeah, we gotta,
give closing statements.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I know you guys got to go. I'm sorry for keeping you a little over time. Let's do closings. I love you all. I don't know if this has been productive, but we're here. Let's give it to Soy first, and we'll go around. Let Hutch have let Dickers have the last word. So we get first and then last. So go ahead, Soy, and then we'll.
Yeah, just to recap, I don't think that dark money in politics is good. I'm okay with people trying to stop it. I think people should be more transparent when they can. I'm okay with certain secrecy clauses when it's not nearly.
Nah, you ready? You ready? I think just to spite them, okay? Since my politics is always spite based, okay? You should say dark money in politics is good, actually. Yeah. I don't know. Like the thing is that like. They're not willing to. They're obviously arguing in bad faith. Why should you be that much of a good faith towards them? Like the thing is that like they can't even define dark money all that well. They can't define dark money as a term. So why should you adopt their term in the first place? Right? Does that make sense? You shouldn't use their term. Yeah.
So nefarious as this article implies, and the idea that Taylor is like, well, she was just doing some completely unbiased reporting when we saw very clear examples of like ways that we could have cleared this up because we were able to clear it up. She could have written about it very differently. The reasons that people are coming away with implications that aren't necessarily true and not even technically alleged is because of the language of the article, and I'm not really okay with that. My final thing would be to say, Fabian, if there was a trolley problem and there was a baby and a penny on the other track, would you pull the lever knowing that you'd violate the Currency Act of the United States?
I don't give a fuck about the currency of the United States.
Let's give it to Hutch. Go ahead, Hutch.
Oh, no.
Bye, guys. I gotta
Bye.
I think the article was written in a way that very clearly gave people a wildly distorted impression about how this organization was structured and how it operated. To Prime's point, I think that that's a legitimate grievance, or I think that's a legitimate argument to say that we could have avoided all this if they would have just responded to the article and engaged.
Dude, 150 viewers while Destiny is streaming. That's really good. Sorry, I'm just surprised
with her. However, it's nonetheless remains to be the case that the surrounding discourse that popped up after this article and the way that she herself engaged on social media in the aftermath of this article only served to obfuscate people even more, or obfuscate the truth even more than the article itself. And so I think my co-panelists here are being wildly obtuse, and I felt like most of this was a waste of time. Thanks, Wick.
Well, some can't all be winners. Thanks for being here, Hutch. Hopefully you had fun at least. Fabian, go ahead.
I did not.
Yeah, so I started this panel with a prediction that came 100% true, which is that people would sweep for dark money in politics on the left because the left doesn't have principles. Instead, they just have consequential analysis. So what's right for thee is what's wrong for thee is
Dude, not the ANCAP saying this. Oh my lord, bro. Whoa. But like, dude, not the fucking ANCAP libertarian guy. Dude, I can't. Bro, the most ideal ANCAPistan, like the idealized ANCAPistan, as ANCAPs would say, would literally be like the most like fucking dark money. Like it's so dark that you can even call it black money. That makes no sense. Okay, I'm sorry.
somehow
Okay.
right for me. And we saw that, Hutch obviously is I don't know that he's necessarily unprincipled. I think he's mostly just not intelligent enough to follow basic logic in conversations. But the other, the soy pilled, I think we saw that. And I reminded you of an analogy, so I gave an analogy, and I think I want to remind it again, because that's really the big picture. The big picture isn't, did she insinuate in a bad way with this specific word appear in a tweet that isn't actually in the article, and therefore that fanned the flames, and therefore I get to make 2 or 3 more YouTube slop videos because I make trash content? Like, that's not actually the problem here when we're talking about politics. What we're talking about is the average viewer, when they go into the ballot box, how are they influenced by money and the donor class? And what the donor class is doing is pumping.
Bro. Hutch didn't have the best showing this debate. He's probably malding on his own fucking stream. Oh no. Not good.
Potentially billions of dollars now. We don't know how much money, right? But we know And Media is trying to pump 45 million in. We know Project Bullhorn 35 million, Double Tap Democracy 30 million, Channel Zero that work with the Biden administration is putting in some tens of millions. Project Echo putting in 52 million. Over and over and over again, we have the donor class pumping massive amounts of money, and what they're attempting to do is control the narrative and pick people that have the ideas that are palatable. Just like you see people being safe horny, just like you see people being safe villains in Disney movies, we now have safe.
No, Fabian's not spitting. This is like populist slop. You vaguely gesture towards dark money and dark influences, and you just take like the most prominent anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. You just replace the word Jew with like the donor class or CEOs or companies in general, and then you pretend that all of this is influencing people, even though social like validation influences people a lot more than just like the so-called dark money, right? Especially if you can't produce any evidence that this is like anything like this is changing people's minds. But then on the meantime, in response to Fabian, like there's plenty of this shit going on the other side, right? Like Tim Pool getting money from fucking Tenet Media, right? It's not even close. It's not even close between the two sides, right? We're talking about like. We're talking about comparing the two. It's not even close. Like, why should we play by the same rules? Why should we play by rules that the other side is not playing by, right? In my opinion, even dark money is good. Like doing gerrymandering, packing the courts, doing dark money shit is actually good, right? Like, doing all of these things is good. Making fun of dead kids in Texas is good, all right? Why? Why do you think it's good? It's because the other side is not playing the same game. Gavin Newsom being full fucking edgelord now, okay, when going against Trump is good, all right? Why should you play by the same rules? Fuck that shit. And instead, you look better, you're more effective, all right? Everyone likes you, and you get more attention that way, okay? Good stuff. Like again, all right, this is just populist slop.
Democrats, and we have safe Republicans, and those are the people that get opportunities, that get interviews, that get gatekept, and get all of these things so that they can be the predominant voices in the space and push down small creators and make it harder and harder for small creators to be able to make meaningful content and do good work, unless of course they're pre-approved by the donor class. And that that's the real fucking problem.
Okay.
And we didn't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, I have to get to that panel.
Quick.
Dude, it's so easy to do a populist grift, okay? You just take prominent anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and you just replace Jews with the donor class, and then you've got it. You've got your grift, okay? Anyone who's looking to be a more successful content creator than Fabian Liberty because he has like the charisma of like a fucking mentally deficient, like chromosomally talented retard, like it's really easy, okay? You just have to take Chink Uyghur's fucking talking points, and then you're able to just like influence the masses, okay? People in TikTok comments would just go, true, true, oh, it's the donor class, and then everyone would just clap and cheer, okay? All right, including your parents, okay? Who has never shown approval to you, which is why you rely on social validation online, okay? Good luck.
Yeah, Renyald, give us your out.
Okay, Wick, I appreciate you reaching out. Realistically, I don't really see that big of a deal with a lot of money in politics, and that goes for the right and the left. I don't know if that's just a personal thing. I mean, I don't know. I agree. You know, there's probably something to be said about disclosure. I think that probably looks better. So at the very least, we should be doing that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the article was probably a bad way to get off on it. I think that you know, the framing of things are absolutely important. Whenever you're doing political speech, you need to take into account how that political speech is being perceived. Follow me at Renyald on all the socials. I love you guys.
Okay, thank you for being here. Prime Kai, please.
Okay, sorry. Am I still here?
You're still here. We're still live. People just have to go apparently. So
no, yeah. My Discord just okay. Anyway, thanks so much for having me, Wick. Really kind of you to include me. This was a fun, lively conversation. Thanks to all the people who were on the panel. It was nice.
Bro, it's I think Prime Kai has probably said the most heinous shit. This entire panel. It wasn't in this specific section of the coverage, but he said that David Pakman. He said that David Pakman was a fucking Zionist, like a disgusting, like extremist Zionist person, and that's why he doesn't like mentioning Israel versus Palestine, right? Because he, at first it seems as though he's like defending David Pakman, right? At first I thought he was going to defend David Pakman, but no, it turns out that he was just going to make a really anti-Semitic remark. Dude, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to grift right now. If you want to grift, you just take the most anti-Semitic things. You just replace Jews or Semitics with Semites with donor class and with Zionists. It's so easy. All right, if you guys are looking for like a really easy job, I guess, like just do that. People will love you. People will love you for being anti-Semitic. Okay, being anti-Semitic is currently the trend. All right, it is the trend right now. All right, yeah.
You Dickers for the first time. It was a good fight, and
yeah, likewise.
And and Scott, you know, like a good buddy of mine. Always fun when we can fight on the same side. So I really enjoyed this conversation. Anyway, yeah, I think that the reaction to this article is overblown. I mean, I can say that there's bad faith interpretations online, but yeah, I can also say that Twitter exists. So whatever. But anyway,
I think that people, if there's the most valuable debate skill, I think that you can learn is learning how to move the conversation forward. Okay, I think that's number one, because they've been stuck on the same point for like hours. All right, the fucking marbles analogy for hours. All right. I'm sorry, but there needs to be some way to move the conversation forward, okay? That is the most valuable... That's actually one of the best debate skills that Steven has, okay? If there's anything that he's good at, it's knowing how to make an analogy or a hypothetical that moves the conversation forward. Fuck! He should just teach people how to debate better. Like, it's so silly. I don't know. Fuck. Yeah, you know what? I can also do debate analysis. It's fine. Okay. Yeah.
I guess I'll leave it there. You can find me at twitch.tv.
Destiny deleted his Reddit account? What? No shot. Oh, I guess he did. No, he... Oh, shit. Looks like he actually did delete everything. He redact.dev'd his entire fucking... Reddit account. Interesting. Oh, maybe I'm guessing that's to prevent people from digging up more shit about him. I think that's the purpose of that, if I were to guess. Yeah.
Or youtube.com/PrimeKai, PrimeCays. I'd love to have you there. Thanks so much.
No, thanks for being here. And last but certainly not least, Dickers, go ahead. And don't leave, guys. I'll read the super chats out. Well, you guys can leave, but audience, stay. Okay, Dickers, please.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the debate was super fun.
Oh, I can't access Kiwi Farms right now. Is someone doing DDoS attack? Oh, I think someone's doing a DDoS attack on Kiwi. Kiwi Farms gets DDoS attacks like every week. Like every 2 days, there's like a DDoS. There's another DDoS attack. Yeah, because people really hate Kiwi Farms. Okay.
I think, despite what the people on the side might say, I think it was quite productive. I think it's quite telling that it's currently
For good
Brian
reasons,
Kais,
okay?
Fabian Liberty, and me sit here with the moderator, and everyone has ran away.
To be fair to them, they had previous appointments at 8:30 that they had to go to. We did
Yeah,
run
they
late,
always
so.
do. Yeah, that's fine. But no, this is super good. All right.
I don't know what you just said, Silver King, but thank you for $10. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said at the start, I don't care inherently about dog money. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Thank you, Dickers. But anyway, guys, please donate. Please donate money. Okay, if you're able to. All right. And if you're not able to, you should at least like the stream. All right. Help support your local content creator, please. Thank you. I'm providing entertainment and content and value to the space. Thank you. Oh yeah. If you donate via Streamlabs, just so you know, your PayPal's not private.
In terms of like how politics is running right now, it's just kind of like it's the tools that people have to like fight each other. I do think there's some significant problems with Chorus though. Some that I discussed here, some that I didn't. Overall, I think that it's not a nefarious organization. It's not something that people are going to kind of like to try and do something evil. But there's definitely better ways of doing it, both for the creators in terms of the backlash they get.
Do you see how now Dickers is like walking back the tone in which he took in this debate? Like the way that he did this debate, you would think that he's a huge Hassan fan, right? But the thing is that like, do you see now how now his actual position is, oh, I don't think any of this is a big deal. I don't actually care about this. If there's any proof you want to see that he's bad faith, this is the proof, okay? But yeah. Like, this is the proof. Like, this is the proof. That like, he is... That these anti-fans are bad faith. They're concern trolls, right? Because this is what his actual position is. His actual position is that he doesn't give a fuck, right? He's British. He lives in the UK. He doesn't need to care about this, right? But yeah. You told me yesterday to stop watching your stream because you're boring. Yeah, I did. Stop watching.
And then for the audience that then hears their political positions, I think that it's usually owed to them if you're going to receive money from someone for your political content. But yeah, that's that. And thank you for having me on.
Okay. Well,
also, Dickers on YouTube.
I have
Dickers
links
TV on Twitter.
Yeah, I have links to everyone's channels in my YouTube description. They spent time giving us content, so spend time go giving them a follow. I'm gonna let you guys go.
Have a good one. Bye.
Gang. Ladies and gentlemen. That was a rough one, gang. It was a rough one, but we got through it. Hopefully, this was the ultimate one, and we never have to talk about it again in any meaningful sense. I think we've circled the drain on this one. How much did Chorus pay me to sweep Wick? I don't get paid by any group.
That was okay. I gotta put clothes in the fucking washer. Okay, I gotta wash my clothing. But yeah, I wish, dude. I just wish there were also better moderators. Like fuck, I don't know. There's also that part.